Neighbor, I told you I was going to pour you a glass of iced tea. Let me throw 5 or 6 ice cubes in there, pour you some of Hop Sing's sweet tea, and let's talk to Benny Cox, producers in Cargyle. Sold sheep and goats yesterday. Benny, how did it go?
After being closed a week, we came back with a pretty decent number, 56.79, not an oversupply. Thing lasted to right about 5 o'clock. These wool feeder lambs, we had a good many the week before. We didn't have enough this week. We can't, not enough to establish any kind of trend. The slaughter lambs were $10 to $15 lower. Now, the really lightweight and the new crop type, some of those certainly could have been near steady. We had a good many that week. We shut down, bring up there in that 360 to 75 or so. This week we had some bring up to 350. New crops I'm talking about. Actually, 360 or so might have been the very top end. Now, on the slaughter ewes, we didn't have a lot on hand, and they were like 15 to 20 higher. The kid goats, they were $30 to $40 lower. Now, quality had something to do with that. There's some of these things that are just not, as bloomy as they should have been. Had needed better feed underneath them. Even with some of those that the weights were up there close to, like in that 55-pound range, that were a little on the thin side. Anyway, $30 to $40 lower on those. Slaughter nanny deal, it was about as good as it was the week before we shut down, selling kind of from 90 on the bottom end up to 170, but mostly 141 to 160. Slaughter billies, awful good. $2, $2.56. Those old big fleshy billies, those boar crosses, lots of them fell up there in that 230 to 245 or 50 range. The few wool lambs that we did sell 180 on some old big things, all the way to 250 on some lightweights. Of course, all of them going to slaughter. The hair sheep slaughter lambs, the lighter end of those, 240 to 360, with the heavier weights, 160 to 290. Slaughter ewe, 80 to 120, but mostly 109 to 117. Kid goats in a range from 230 to 330, but mostly 264 to 290, with some of those feeder kids up to 350, and we've been selling those feeder kids over $4, for 3 or 4 sales prior to this. But anyway, that's kind of where we landed yesterday.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Benny Cox.
They can call me on my mobile, which is 325-234-4277. Office, same area code, 653-3371. Or they can always look at the web, which is producersandcargyle.com.
Benny, thank you very much.
Talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.